What's the most awkward thing you've witnessed at a high school reunion? I play in a band. We got booked by a restaurant for some class reunion. I show up to set up for the gig and it's my ducking class. I wasn't even invited. That sucked. I hope you made it weird from the stage. A guy from our class passed away from cancer shortly before our 20th reunion. He was never super popular but was pretty well known across our class. During the awards speech section of the night, the lady, our class president, I think, was trying to get the crowd to settle down for a moment of silence. You could tell it meant a lot to her as she started getting heated. The crowd started shushing one another. And it got just quiet enough to hear somebody say, "Geez, did somebody die or something?" At my 10th, the organizers gave awards to people for various reasons. One girl from our class was given an award for having the most kids of anyone there. She'd had 4 by different guys, which was part of the announcement. The look on her face as she slinked up to the podium said it all. My wife, at the time, and I had dated all through HS and college. We married and had a child. We still had a few close friends we graduated with that were going as well. I would say there was about a 70% turnout. We had a good time and everyone got pretty drunk. We all mingled and my wife talked to a guy who she had cheated on me with right after HS. They didn't speak for more than 3 minutes. They hadn't spoke since that day almost 10 years before. We had moved past it and had a family. At least that's what I thought. Less than a month after the reunion I could tell that something wasn't right. When I asked her about it she told me she wasn't happy and wanted a divorce. We had been together for a very long time and I was devastated. After a week of feeling like I had failed and doing everything I could to win her back, I discovered she had been having an affair with that same guy. That's really messed up. High school sweethearts : Haven't had a high school reunion yet. But here's a fun one from my mom's 3rd reunion. She went with my dad back to her hometown for the reunion. My dad grew up in a different place, so he didn't know anybody there. Bored out of his mind, he decided to have some fun and found a way to discreetly ask someone who the biggest juvenile delinquent troublemaker was in their graduating class. Let's call him Albert Davis. So, my dad went to the name tag table and found Albert Davis's name tag. He put it on and went around saying hi to everyone just to watch their reactions. Because most of them assumed that Albert Davis was in prison. My mom did not think it was funny. That's not awkward at all, that is ducking hilarious. Edit, wow, my most upvoted post is this. Someone made a speech along the lines of, "Comma to all of those that felt picked on or bullied. I have something to say to you." She then started to sing Let It Go from Frozen. At my 10th year HS reunion, a guy I hated and who hated me showed up and came directly toward me. Not saying anything at all to me, he then engaged the person standing right next to me on my left. He proceeded to move around the room talking to literally everyone there, only 33 people in my class, and stopping with the person on my right. Didn't so much as acknowledge my existence the whole rest of the day. It was super weird at the time. But many years later it was the most memorable thing that happened. I laugh about it now. Edited to clarify 10-year reunion. Strange that he would still be so juvenile a decade later. You'd think he'd grow past it. I was there with a guy friend when he saw his ex. They approached each other, him going in for a hug and her extending her hand to shake. When they each realized what the other was doing, she put her arms out for a hug, and he extended his hand to shake. By the time they touched, it was just a jumble of hands and arms weirdly touching each other. He started by saying, "So, how have you been?" I just said, "Excuse me," and got the hell away from them. Moral of the story, if you go for the hug, you got to go for the hug. I went to my wife's last reunion a few months ago. The day of the reunion she got a call that it was cancelled. Apparently, 5 years earlier a classmate got creepy and stalkery with another classmate. The people organizing the reunion invited him not to show up. Then the guy posted on Facebook some vague threats. They did actually change the venue and have the reunion. But there were many people that couldn't be contacted with the updated info. I feel this will happen at my reunion. And I know exactly who the creepy classmate's gonna be. My friend said her cousin's high school reunion was really awkward because this guy ran up and kissed his high school girlfriend without her asking and then got in a fist fight with her husband. Did not turn out well from what I hear. My mom's 35th high school reunion was at a bar that I frequent quite a bit. I walked in with my mom and went up to a bartender that I know to order a drink for my mom and I. He looked up at my mother and I and immediately got super shy and weird and then said, "You're the daughter of my mom's name?" Apparently he had a huge crush on my mom in high school and my uncle beat the hit out of him because he creeped my mom out. Very awkward indeed. The captain of the football team was a pretty sad sight. He looked like hell and was so proud of sneaking booze in with his flask. I mean, it was a cash bar but the prices were reasonable. I went with my wife to her reunion. I may have had 1 or 3 before arriving. And when I got there I remembered hearing a story of a guy who was my wife's 3rd grade boyfriend. Later in life he had a rough time of things, drugs, alcohol, run-ins with the law, etc. As a joke, I wrote his name on my name badge and went about my business. Not long after, a rather strong and stocky woman turned around, looked at me, then at my name tag. When she saw the name she looked up at me, screamed excitedly as loud as I've ever heard, bear hugged me while lifting me off the ground, and bit my neck. No blood, but decent bruise. Not me but my Bill's high school reunion. A guy that was severely bullied in high school started a Facebook group to get the ball rolling on planning a high school reunion. He planned the venue, food, drinks and asked everyone pay a ticket price to cover it all. He organized the money go into a provided bank account, received 200 plus people's HS reunion to let reduce and ducked off. Never to be heard of again. I've never laughed so hard in my life. That is the greatest act of high school revenge I've ever heard. Apparently, every year, my brother's graduating class gets together at this one neighborhood bar over Thanksgiving. It's not a formal thing, but anyone can come and they all have a few drinks and it's totally normal. I literally had no idea about it. And apparently my brother didn't either. Because 3 or 4 years ago we showed up to get a drink together alone and his entire graduating class of 50-ish people were there. Now, my brother was super nerdy and kind of an awkward kid. But the Marines and college turned that around and now he's a outgoing, sociable guy. Coming out of the closet once he hit 23 helped too. Since he was comfortable in his own skin and it showed outwardly. Thing was, no one seemed to know he was gay. And this is small town in the Midwest, where there's nothing else to do but gossip, and since no one leaves, everyone knows everyone else. I literally spent all night cringing, while my brother dodged the advances of a bunch of girls aggressively hitting on him. Since the dating pool is the same guys they went to high school with and he was fresh meat, they were all coming on super strong and it was bad. Then everything got even worse when he told them he was living on the East Coast because he was gay and married. And his husband's job was there. It was a party with all old high school people at it. Not sure if people actually have reunions anymore. But it ended up the same effect. I met up with an ex. And an ex-buddy of mine kept saying it about how we would be perfect back together. It was just stupid for a ton of reasons. And dude kept pushing. First I was married. Didn't bother this dude, he said we should just bang and not tell my wife. Second, she's a lesbian. No interest in men. I knew this already and she trusted telling me even though I think she kept it private. But this guy pushed and pushed and when she said she liked girls he just told her to bring her girlfriend along. I don't even know the guy's endgame but he looked like a total idiot and I'm pretty sure he made my ex feel pretty uncomfortable. Then I had to feel uncomfortable when I finally told him to duck off. People coming up to me asking me what's up and seem to know a whole deal about me while I have no memory of who they are at all. Do you post on Facebook a lot? I do, as I have a small business, but the odd part is me not remembering them XD. When my lady teacher came up to me, kissed me on the cheek and told me she loved me. She was very drunk. I felt very awkward. Edit, no, she wasn't hot. She was old. Once spell corrected a Christmas card I gave her. And the night of the formal smelt strongly of booze. When I was like 6, I went to my dad's small town 30-year reunion. His ex-fiancée, not my mom, was dressed in her prom dress and kept talking to me saying she should have been my mommy. Even then I knew that was weird. Keep your crazy in, lady. Well, props to her that she could fit in a prom dress after 30 years. A girl turned into a boy and wasn't allowed to go in because she changed her name. At our 15th they asked, then gave out prizes for the person who traveled the farthest to attend, traveled the least far to attend, had the newest car, the oldest car, the youngest child. The look on the MC's face when he realized what asking for the oldest child would mean. Full stop. What would it mean? The person with the oldest child would also be the first one in the class to get pregnant. Probably while still in high school. I'm pretty old. Getting pregnant in high school carried some social stigma back then. We also had to walk to school in the snow. It was 12 miles. Uphill, both ways. 2 of our classmates passed away before our 5-year reunion. One of the girls organizing the event thought it would be a good idea to make cardboard cutouts of their faces. As if they were truly still here with us. The worst part was that people got drunk and started toting them around. Taking pictures with them. It was ducked up. For us younger folk, will there even be a physical reunion? Somebody made a graduating class of 20XX page like a year after graduation, which has like one post for a few months and then had been absolutely dead for several years now. Wait until you're all just having your reunion in Viva Cat. At my 10-year reunion it was more everyone getting really pissed. At the 20th there were a few people seemingly bitter at those who had done pretty well in life. Odd really. My HS reunion the last years have gone from a reunion to just a way for the school to make $sign. Now everybody can enter if they buy a ticket and you can't speak to anyone because it's dark and the music is so ducking loud. It's a goddamn teenage party. Need to take the organizing control away from the school. Got invited by Facebook message, we're not friends on FB, by one of the girls who made pretty much the whole time I was there a living hell. Didn't attend obviously. Because everyone I wanted to keep in touch with I did, but got a raw sorry we missed you hun. We should do lunch soon message. But why? Selective memory. Or some people don't realize they were bullies. I didn't go to my 10-year. But drama unfolded on Facebook in the planning stages. One guy decided the official reunion wasn't good enough. So he planned a competing reunion and tried to siphon people off of the other. When people started posting confusion to the event page, the argument between the 2 reunion leaders went something like 80 comments deep. The best part is, the then current principal, who'd been a popular teacher when we were students, actually had to step in and mediate. It was ducking hysterical. I had been on the fence about going since I stayed close to my good friends in high school and Facebook kept me informed about anyone else I cared to know about. But that whole thing sealed it for me. Edit, I didn't go. It's true what they say about 10-year reunions, nobody has changed. I went to my 40th. I now live on the west coast and the school is in NJ. Met up with a sweet girl that I had dated off and on in school but nothing more. She is widowed. After a few she asked me why we never had sex and I. What? It was a come on that I did not follow up on. I went to mine with my roommate. Everyone thought we were married or something. I'm male, she's female. When we started dancing with other PPL girls would look over my shoulder at my roommate and then slowly dance away from me. It wasn't like I was getting all clothes or anything. On the flip side, this one dude just stopped dancing with my roommate and left without a word. When she came to tell me about what happened we both turned to see that he was making a beeline for the exit. After telling this to a mutual friend, it was pointed out that we probably looked like swingers. Lol, we still laugh about it to this day. I heard that a classmate set the venue on fire. Glad I didn't go. Was lit though. 5-year reunion. Took my husband. Guy who liked me freshman year, then never talked civilly to me again. Told me he was going to die alone and unloved behind a dumpster. Note, he had been a popular football player. I was a social outcast. Actually, my high school reunion was the awkward thing. I didn't attend. And neither did very many people. Everyone pretty much hated each other. And from what I heard, only one clique turned up, with the odd person from one or two others making an appearance. Even though I didn't go, it was still awkward when a girl who severely bullied me at school tried adding me on Facebook to invite me to the reunion. She still hates me to this day. So I don't even know why she would have wanted me there, let alone directly contact me. At my 10-year reunion, one of the good-looking but not very bright guys from my class argued WTH me that we had sex in HS. After 10 minutes of me trying to explain to him that we had never had sex, I realized that he was thinking of my friend's sister, not me. He then was like, well, we can fix that. I declined and left. He went 10 years not knowing who he had sex with. I'm not touching that with someone else's vaginal. Much less me own.